Hello everyone, I'm here today with a new process video, and this one is a layout for Philly, and it's slightly unusual in that the left hand side I have a brochure and a map here, and I want to be able to keep it intact so that it can be rifled through and read if someone chooses. And then there is also a map in here so that I can kind of remember where we went and in what direction and where things were. So I definitely want to be able to use that whole thing. So my plan is to take two of these tabs, create turning points for it so that it can live outside the pocket. And then I also have this photo from out front. And I think what I want to do is take this and put this on the back somehow. So I'll probably cover up part of this. I mean, this part is beautiful, so I feel bad covering all of that, but I do want to get a photo on there. So I have to figure out how that's going to happen. And it may be that the whole back ends up being covered. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. This is just for information, so I could remember the name of the talk we went to that was specific to Van Gogh. So I have that. This is a 6x8 collage photo, and that will make up the right-hand side of the page. I don't intend to do a whole lot with that, except that I have this patch that says Vincent. I actually got this in a set of 4 when I was at the Met in New York City, and I specifically held on to it because I knew that we were going to 2 art museums in Philly, and as it turned out, we got lucky that they had an exhibit that was specific to Van Gogh, so that was perfect. So I do want to use that on here as well. So looking at this right side, this one will definitely be the easier side to do because I don't have to do a lot. And when I have the patch here, I'm thinking because there's this dead space at the ceiling here, I may just put it right there, maybe overlap a little bit into the upper photo, but I kind of like it there because it fills up that empty space. Plus it brings in the darker, black color, and there's some black here. A little bit darker here, and then since this will be on the other page, it also has black. That's a nice balance, so I think that's where I'm going to place it. Now, these patches are meant to be sewn on to a piece of clothing, obviously, or a bag or something, but I know from using the other ones that I can put glue dots on it or red line tape and it will stick, so that's my plan here. All right, I have attached that, and I just use glue dots and it's sticking fine. So if you want to try that, that's one way to do it. And I had thought maybe I would put something here, but the more I look at this, I really don't want to add anything else. I want the focus to stay on his beautiful paintings. So I think I'm going to actually leave that one alone. So the right side is done already. Yay! Don't have to do anything else with that. But for this one, this will be the tougher side anyway, so now I'll start on that. So I have to figure out what I want to do with the back, and then I also need to measure for placing these tabs. So I have taken out a page protector here that fits in my 6x12 so that I can use the holes to place these tags so that I can make my tabs to flip the brochure back and forth. So I don't usually take out a ruler since I've been working on these kinds of things. I just eyeball it. So I kind of line it up so it's even with the holes. I'm actually going to use these two because this is a little too close to where the ring will be to the edge here, and so I like to use the middle ones. So I will be placing tabs here and about here. And then what I want to do is pick out the paper that's going to go on the back, and then I will hide these. So the paper will go over this, and you'll only see, this part sticking out. I don't want the whole part of these tabs to be visible. In looking at this picture, I have to match the paper to this. And there's already a lot of green happening, so I know I don't want green. I could go with like a charcoal gray to match this, or even a black. I think black might be a little too harsh though. But I'm wondering if I should go for a yellow here. Kind of a muted yellow, not super bright, but sort of muted, because I think that might match nicely. So when I have smaller size things like this, I always like to go into my scraps first to see if I have a piece that will fit. Unfortunately, in the color that I want, I don't. So I'm going to have to cut into a new piece of paper. And pretty much I cut all of my paper 6x12 now, given that I do pocket pages and the sizes that I tend to do. So I have pulled out 3 pieces of paper here that potentially may work. And I like all of these for different reasons. I'm going to do this so you can see a little bit more of the color scheme on this one. I like this one because it has a little bit of everything that's in here. I'm just not sure if it's going to be too wild with that photo. So we'll see. This one, I love this color. I love yellow anyway. And I love this color and the fact that it's got those tiny polka dots in there. So I'm kind of leaning towards this one, but it is a solid. There's no subtle pattern or anything. This one I do like because it's got that variation and there's a little bit more orange here and here. So I don't know, I'm going to hold the photo up to all of them and see what I think. All right, so there is with the subtle kind of background paper. Here's with the solid, just so we can see what all the colors look like. Oof, I do like that. And I could mat it in white to match this. I mean, I could mat the other one in white too, but I really like that one. And then I have this one. Yep, now that I see that, I don't like that at all. So it's going to be one of these. I have decided to go with this one just because, if this makes sense, I think this looks a little more Van Gogh-ish, if you will. So I'm going to do this one. So I will cut that down to the right size and then I'll be back. When I measured this map and brochure, it ended up being 3.75 by 9.25. So it's a little bit longer than I had guessed, which is fine. I still had enough paper to do that. So now I have cut this down to match. This is what will go over the top of the back of the brochure here. And then I will insert these according to where the holes are. All right, I lined the holes up to match these. It's perfect. I already tested it in the album with the rings to make sure it was going to turn the way I wanted, and it does, so that's awesome. So now I can take this and adhere it on top, and you'll only see those poking out a bit. So I've adhered everything down here, and I noticed after I did it, I did make this just a hair too big, so I'm going to trim that off so that it's all nice and even, and then I'll be ready to decorate the back. I did decide to mat this photo on white, but I wanted the border to be very thin. So I've done just 1/8 of an inch all the way around, just so that it mimics the white that I have on this side. And now I have to determine how I want to place this. I know I want it slightly off center between top and bottom because I want to journal about the exhibit and the talk that we saw, or the exhibit we saw, the talk that we heard. So I'm wondering if maybe to keep, since these are based on the same painting here, to keep those apart, if I should go in the upper portion so that it sits, when it's in the album, it will sit about like that. So I'm wondering if it's better to leave this open to have the journaling down there. I think that's the best way to go. So that's my current plan. And then I have to decide, do I want lines? Do I want to freehand it? Freehand writing makes me nervous because if it looks awful, I'm not going to be happy with it, and I've already glued this down. Had I been thinking it through, I should have done the journaling first. However, if I had to, I have a strip of this left. I could pry this up. I could still have half of it on there probably and leave the other half, but I'm going to just hope that I don't make any mistakes. I'm happy with the way that's looking, but I feel like I need something up here. I could stamp, but I've also pulled out a bunch of travel related things I have to see if I can find something that will work for that top portion. For the top up there, I think I'm going to use this sticker that says Collecting Memories. It's a nice green. It's not exactly what you see there, but it's closer to what's in here, and I think it's a nice offset given the roofs over here and the green that's in the back of this photo. Sorry, the roofs. There, now you can see them. And then I think I'm just going to use one of these black geotags to put maybe slightly overlapping it or right next to it, but I think I'm going to use those two things. All right, I finished what was on the back there, other than the journaling. Since I have to be so careful with that, I really want to wait till I'm off camera and think carefully about what I want to say and write very carefully. But I wanted you to see what it looks like when it's in the album. So here it is with the tabs installed, you can see I have another one under here that I've already done on a different page, but then you can still totally open it up. You can still open the map. Everything is nicely viewable. And then you just flip over, you'll see this on the back, and then here's the matching page. So I hope you liked watching me put that together and that it gives you some ideas on how you might do this too. Thanks for watching.